Hello hackers, it's Emmanuel here on Cyber Concoct, and in this video we will be building a reverse shell payload from scratch. So the million-dollar question, what is a reverse shell? So a reverse shell is basically a technique whereby a target machine initiates a shell connection to an attacker machine. So an attacker machine will be listening on a port, and then a target machine will initiate a socket connection and connect back to an attacker machine. So there are usually two scripts involved here. We have the server script and the client script. The server script is what will be running on the attacker machine, listening for incoming connections, while the client script is deployed on the target machine that will initiate the connection to join our server. So we can usually deploy these client scripts by a number of ways. It could be through social engineering or some malicious file injections, or however an attacker is able to deploy these malicious scripts on the target machine. This is interesting because by doing that, we avoid a lot of firewalls. Okay, let's get into the actual coding. Before we begin writing out our code, we need to know what our attacker IP address is. So here is my IP address 127.0.0.1. So this is our attacker host actually. So we need this. Now, like I said, there will be two scripts. So we are going to have an attacker script and a target script. The target script is what we will deploy on our target machine, and the attacker script is what we will run on our attacker machine. Excuse me. All right. So I'm going to navigate to a folder which I already created. Um, okay. So I already created a folder called reverse shell. As you can see, there's nothing in it. So we want to create a Python script. Now I can open up my nano attacker.py because it's going to be a Python file. All right, we want to begin by defining our shebang. Being Python 3. If you are using Python 2, you go ahead and put that in. Then we want to import socket. Socket is what we will use to create a socket connection. Now we want to create a function. We do that start. We are going to name our function start server because this is a server file that will be hosted on our attacker machine. Now we want to define the host. Remember, our host IP address is 127.0.0.1, right? Then we also need a port that will be listening on. We're going to define 7878. Now we need to create a socket object. So we can do that by doing soc-o2 our socket.socket, and then we want to socket.af_inet. Now we are telling it that we are going to require a host and then a port. All right. Then we want to bind to our host and port, and it needs a tuple. So we are going to provide the host and the port as a tuple. So soc.bind, then we provide our host and provide our port. Close that out. Now we want to listen on this port. So and now we're going to put in 5 here. Now we're going to print for readability sake. So we want to say listening for incoming connections on ports. I want to provide our ports that we just created. Then close this out and then close the parentheses. Now what we can do is we have to accept any connection that is coming from our target machine. So to do that, we do connection, and then we need an address. Then we need to accept the connection, close that, and then we print that, hey, we have connected. So I'm going to say connection established from, then we provide address, then we close this out. Now what we want to do is we want to have a while loop running that will enable us to continuously load our target machine with shell commands. To do that, we can say while true. While true, we want this to continue running. So we need our command, which is going to be an input. This is for us now. So an attacker machine now will now come and enter inputs here, like shell commands. So now I want to send to the connection that we just established. So connection.send, and we are sending the string encode of the command. So what we are doing is we are encoding our string command here and then sending it to the connection that we established here when we accepted the connection. Okay, next we need to get the response. We do that by receiving from the connection. There is a receiver module on the socket object, the connection object that we just established. Is going to be connection.receive like this, and then we need just 1024 bytes at once. Then we want to print the string of the response that we just received. Response, then we need to decode it, UTF it. Okay. Now we are going to say if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to underscore underscore main. Then we want to run the start function, start server function. So we can say start server. All right, so our attacker script is ready. Let's go ahead and save. Do that, Control X. Yes, hit enter. Now let's ls. We have our attacker.py. Now we need to change the permission here so that we'll be able to run it. To do that, we do change mode executable, then attacker.py, hit enter. And when we check it again, you see that it has turned green. All right, so our attacker script is ready. Up next, we build out the target script, which will enable the target machine to connect back to our attacker machine. All right, I'm going to zoom over to this tab here. All right, I'm going to ls, so cd reverse shell, clear my screen, ls again. We see that the folder is empty. Now we are going to create another script here, another Python script, which will be deployed on the target machine. So I'm going to use mousepad for this one. So mousepad target.py. Okay. So as always, our shebang hash in Python 3 and save, have that nice coloring. Also, we are going to import sockets because we need that to create a socket connection, and then we'll import sub process. What sub process does is it enables us to have access to a shell so that we can enable shell script running. As always, since this is a client, we are going to create a client function. So we name it start client. So def start client. Now we want to define our host. Now the host is going to be the attacker host address. So host is going to be, as always, 127.0.0.1 and then port. This has to be the port that the attacker is listening on, and we remember from our last script that is 7878. Okay, now we need to create a socket object, same as socket, and we are going to be needing it to bind to a socket.af_inet. This is the host, and then socket.sockstring. This is the port. Now we want to connect. Remember, this is a reverse shell, so the target machine will connect back to the attacker machine, and we do that by invoking the connect module of the socket. So connect, and then we want to connect to the host and port. Now we want to enable a shell command to continuously run on the target machine. This will enable the attacker to always send shell commands. So to do this, we bring our while loop, while true. We want to receive command from the attacker machine. So command is going to be equal to .receive, and we're going to need 24 bytes. They want to decode this because it's in bytes, so we want to decode it decode we need UTF-8. Okay, now we want to make some checks here. We want to do if command is equal to quit. So if the command that is coming from the attacker is equal to quit, we want to just close the connection because maybe we are done with whatever attack or malicious intentions we had in mind. So we need to close it. So what we'll do is we'll just quit. So we print quitting share, and then we close the socket connection. Then we want to break out of the loop. All right. So if the command is not quit, so elif command is not equal to empty string, then we want to run the command. So we will run it and get the result in a variable named result. So it's going to be, okay. So our result is going to be, remember the subprocess that we imported. This is where it will be useful. So subprocess run. Now we need a command to run this subprocess, and the command is what we have received from the attacker here. So it's going to be command, and then we need a shell. So we're going to set it to true here, and then we want to capture the output. So capture output also true. So we'll go ahead and close it. Now this subprocess returns has a return code. It returns 0 if it's successful, and then returns a non-zero if it's non-successful. Okay, so we are going to check if result dot return code, the return code is equal to 0. That means we have a successful result. Then we want to print the command that we just ran. So we are going to like this, and then the command. All right, then we want to send the output back to the attacker. Then what we are sending the result .std out. This is the output of the subprocess execution. All right. So if the return code is not 0, that means we have an error. So we say else. Then we want to print information. So command error like this. They want to send the error back as well. We want to send the result.std error like this. Then we want to go ahead and close the socket connection. Now we are done with the while loop. To be able to run this, we want to say if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to underscore underscore main. Then we want to go ahead and run the file. And the file is basically the start client. So we want to start client. Now what this does is checks if we are running this file directly. then it goes ahead and run it. So let's save, let's close it out. And now when we do ls, we see the target.py here. So we want to make sure that we can run it. So we change mode, target.py, run it, ls again, and we see that it's now green. Then I want to clear the screen. Now we want to make sure that we are listening on our attacker machine. I'm going to clear the screen. So what we can do is we can say Python 3, then our attacker.py. Oops, looks like we have an error. The socket has no attributes accept. Looks like we have an error in our code. Let's go back and check it. Okay, sorry, it's an error here. It's not socket.accept, it's soc.accept, because SOC is what we defined it as, not socket. Okay. So it's SOC, not socket. SOC, yes, hit enter. Let's clear the screen once more and then run it again. Yes, so we are now listening for incoming connections on port 7878. All right, let's go to our target machine and then run it. So to do that, we say Python 3, then target.py, hit enter. And as you can see here, we now have a shell connection. This is a reverse shell. And to check if it's successful, let's do ls here. Wow, so we can see the target.py here. This file was originally on our target machine. We have been able to create a reverse shell connection. So we are able to view the files in the target shell directories. For example, let's see what the content of this target.py is. As you can see, we can get the output. So now, as a proof of concept, remember we are Kali.Linux here. So I'm going to check who am I, and it says root, because our target machine is root. Also, if I type in ID, it says UID root, GID root, groups root. So congratulations, you have been able to build out a reverse shell payload. Now, there are a number of ways we can improve on this to make it run some complicated and complex commands. However, for this video, we have been able to create the scripts and initiate connection, and then we are able to send malicious code to our target machine. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, see you in the next video.